came here just to state my name and also let y'all know what I'm claiming. I ain't got to be famous, long as the hood know that I'm one of the greatest. I guess that's enough for me to make it. Sometimes that's enough for me to take shit, but that's never enough for me to take this music you can use and turn it into some fake shit. I'm representing the niggas from the pavement.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the nation, and welcome to the next edition of Cutty's Couch TV. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Cutty's Couch TV, and right now I am honored to be sitting here on the couch with thought teacher and spiritual leader, my esteemed colleague, Dr. Curtis D. Jasper, who does everything from psychology to motivational speaking to counseling and everything else. So welcome to the couch, my brother.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, so we're going to jump right in it, as usual.
Okay.
The first thing I want to talk to you about, that I probably never even told you, that like your spiritual quotes that you have, like how did you come up with those? Because it touches on other people's lives. You know what I mean?
I've been doing it for a while. It's always been in my mind. I've been studying spirituality and metaphysics formally for about 22 years, and so through my studies, anything that touch, moves, or inspire me, I feel almost obligated to share it. And social media has given me a platform to really not only share things that are meaningful to me, but teach. It's my classroom, my way of teaching a concept for those who naturally are attracted to it. So it started off like that, and then I kind of got more formal with it. But more importantly, I live by it. So the things I post, I feel really good about it. It's not, I don't promote anything that I don't necessarily want out there.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, not physically, but like you feel like yoga.
I appreciate that, right.
So the I Am Project,
mm-hmm.
Let's talk about capital I Am.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? First of all,
yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
So the I Am Project is a personal development, spiritual leadership development organization. It initially started off as a nonprofit. Then we went to for-profit, which I'll tell why in a minute. The concept I Am, as we're most familiar with from a spiritual religious standpoint, was started from me just doing affirmations in the morning. Mm-hmm. Just I am grateful, I am healthy, I am wealthy, things of that nature. And so I thought I'd base my movement at the time, it was a nonprofit movement, based on let the title be sort of affirmative. And that's where I came with the I Am Project. So it started, and it encompasses a lot of things. It started off as a nonprofit designed for young men of color, sort of a mentoring, teaching, coaching, counseling conglomerate. Then it went to a coaching 40-day program for adults, which allows me the wonderful opportunity to work with adults for 40 consecutive days on a holistic approach to healing and getting in touch with your inner self. But then after I did the nonprofit for a while, what I found, it was easier to raise money being for-profit than nonprofit. And so the reason why I dropped the nonprofit status is because I made a promise to the organization that any personal projects, any speaking engagements that I would have as an individual, I would donate 50% of that income to it. So I started funding it with doing the work. And it was easier, believe it or not, it was easier to go to people for large sums of money based on me servicing them, whether it's speaking, teaching, then I ask them for a donation for helping young men of color.
Right.
So I just switched the game up a little bit. It's been working out well. Yep, my background is education. I went to undergrad and graduate school for education, so I taught in the classroom. I also was an assistant principal and a principal, and I did some educational training and consulting. So formally, I'm an educator, and quite frankly, I'm just a good old teacher. You know, and I kind of do it in different ways. But what I love to do is share, to tap into young minds, and I say young minds even in older people, because if the concept is new, then I consider us all having young minds to certain things. So yes, formally I taught in Chicago Public Schools. I came to Atlanta for a job opportunity as an assistant, took over as a principal, and then I realized that public education had a lot of bureaucracy that did not allow me to service young black boys in a manner that I saw fit at the time, and I stepped away. A mentor of mine at the time told me to step away, get into business, make some money, and start your own school and bypass some of the politics. And that's what I'm doing in a nutshell now.
Yeah, that's great. Cause like what I always say, like we all at some point revert back to our young minds. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like not in death or anything like that, but just like at some point in the metric of the day. Like you always gonna go back to the little boy in you and think of any issue you had as a little boy that you couldn't get out.
That's
so
it.
That's why we need teachers and psychologists and counselors and all those type of things. So let's get into like some of the books. What you had, 3 books now, or how many?
Yeah, so I had 3 books and 2 journals. So a total of 5 publications, and I'll release one by the end of the first quarter of this year. So it's just mostly a compilation of things that I put out on a regular, just to give people an access to buy some of the things I post on social media, kind of buy it all bounded up together. So
Right. And I'm gonna go back to the quotes and stuff. Like how do you touch in yourself so much that like you feel stuff? I won't even say stuff. You feel stuff that everybody else is feeling.
So thank you for that. I'd like to. So let me answer the question first. How do I get in that space? I stick to a regimen, a self-care program that puts me in that a space daily. Now, some days are harder than others, but I start off with a morning routine, and I kind of pepper it throughout my day. But the quotes come from my study, and so I'm an avid researcher of human consciousness and personal development, and so I study for the fun. Nothing formal. It's just my thing. And so after part of my self-care program is the studying, and so I learn something. It sticks with me. It really, when I get that aha moment, I kind of send it out there with the hopes of touching one person, with the hopes of leaving my footprint on the social media, online world to say, hey, to whom it may concern, or even talking to myself as a note to self. That's just my way of really having my own pulpit to be straight with.
Right.
Most people move to action as a result of 2 things, either inspiration or desperation. For me, I try to stay even keel where I don't dip too low. So even when I don't feel like it, I don't do it. I only take inspired action. There's no force behind it. So I stay at a level where I keep it fun. And the days that I don't post, I have nothing to say. I'm not in alignment, and I'm not inspired or motivated. But it's not because of procrastination. I just don't want to do it. Yeah. And I think a fancy word for procrastination is we don't want to do it until we have to do it.
Right. Just trying to make it look beautiful.
That's all. It ain't nothing but laziness. All of us are driven in the areas that we need to be. But procrastination is, I don't want to do it until I want to do it.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to start saying, like, I just don't want to do this right now.
That's the truth.
Just tell the truth.
That's it.
Just tell the truth.
Exactly. One of the things that I remind the young gentlemen is their geniusness, their greatness. And that energy has to be harnessed because the greatness is already there. I don't teach patience because, again, it goes back to sort of like procrastination. There does not necessarily have to be a waiting period for young people to express themselves. We, as outside the millennials, Generation Xers, we don't listen enough to the young people. We think that our trajectory of life fits theirs. But the main thing that I remind adults my age regarding the young people is that we have to respect them on a spiritual level, even when we disagree. And what I mean by that is the millennials are born, in my opinion, under the energy of the most conscious birth years that I think has changed the world as we know it. It's not the baby boomers, it's not us. I mean, everything that we do is out of the millennials, from apps to social media. That is the millennials. That's not us.
Technology.
All that's theirs. And so they show up with a level of geniusness that we cannot even fathom. And so we still trying to fit them into the traditional, work, career, college, and things of that nature. And they want to create. And they don't have outlets, so it gets misguided and misappropriated. But I have to remind them that they are in the best times of the history of the world, some of the best times, and they can really, really create.
Right. And I just wanted to bring this point up that, like, I've known you like for over 20 years.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And whether we talk sometimes or not, like, I don't think I ever told you how amazing I think you are. Like, just like from how your mind works, because you don't know until somebody tells you. So the streets is watching, people are watching, we hear the scratching. So,
right.
I know you speak at in a lot of different arenas. So, like, how do you feel when you get in front of that crowd of people and you speaking to them, and like they are absorbing everything that you're talking about? Like, what are some of those notes that you tell them?
So, first, thank you very much for that compliment. I really appreciate it. Speaking to me is a zone like no other. So, outside of preparing the night before, the day before, I do a brief meditation whenever I address any audience, whether it's 1 or 50. Ask to be led from a higher power, ask for my ego to be surrendered, ask to be powerful and touch move. People speak to the people the right way at the right time. A lot of things that I ask. I ask to be amazing and to have fun. I ask to meet new people. A lot of things I ask, and then I just go in, do some breathing exercises, and do some meditation. And then I just kind of let it roll. I have notes, whether it's a PowerPoint or my tablet or even note cards. And usually I just let it flow organically, so.
Yeah, so that's great. So, like, let's tell them about how they can reach you, like your books. Let's talk about you. Like,
okay. So, the website for the books is www.youareyourownsolution.com. And solution is spelled SOULUTION, and that's just my way of playing on the words of solution. We're all our own solutions, usually from the inside out, with all of the challenges that we may face. So you can find me online on the website there. There's links to the books. You can also find all the publications on Amazon. I'm on all forms of social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So you can find me there. I am Dr. Kurt on Instagram and Twitter, and Dr. Curtis D. Jasper on Facebook.
All right.
Yeah.
So, like, in knowing you, like I said, we know each other. Like, sincerely and honestly, I feel like you got this certain glow to you. Like you one of the chosen ones. Like, so how do you cope? And I know, like you feel down sometimes yourself. Like, how you cope when you feel down and you can't talk to other people about it because you're the one who feel down and you need some talking to?
Sure. So I write it out. I do a lot of journaling. Most of the time when my feelings come, like if I'm feeling sad or down, which happens, semi-regularly as most people, I wait it out. I've learned to condition myself to kind of wait for feelings to pass, as opposed to doing something or making it mean something. So when I notice that my energy is dropping or I'm getting sad or angry or something, I simply just wait. Like I do nothing, literally. I just sit and I reach to only feel better. Just not great necessarily, but better. So if I'm low, I just reach to feel better. Reach to feel better. And then gradually I come out of it. But I try not to make any moves while I'm not feeling great, because it's harder to, you run against resistance when you're not feeling great trying to make certain moves, for me. Now some people can get in action and get it going. I'm just not one of them. So I do a lot of self-care with just breathing, journaling, and waiting it out. And that worked. And that took some practice, sort of like going to the gym. It took years to get to this point. But I waited it out when I'm not feeling good, and eventually I get it back on.
Right.
Yeah.
Step by step.
Yeah.
Minute by minute, second by second.
That's it.
All that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just reach to feel better, and eventually I get back to good, and then great, and then I'm back at it.
Yeah. Appreciate you, brother, for real.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Appreciate
Thank
you
for coming on
Absolutely.
to the couch. You know what I mean? Dr.
This is
Curtis
good.
D. Jasper.
Yes.
He is on the couch, Cutty's Couch TV. I'm your host, Timothy Cutty Sanders. Check us out next time.
I'll be back.
All right.
Thank you.
Hello. I just came to say hi. Hello. Let me introduce myself. Hello. Your name is Nefarious. Hello. Nice to meet you, my nigga. Hello. I just came to say hi. Hello. Let me introduce myself. Hello. The name is Nefarious. Hello. Nice to meet you, my nigga. Cutty's Couch is sponsored in part by Chalant Magazine.